So what are you doing this morning?
Making jerky.
You're making jerky, and we're testing out, or we always like to test out new products from different companies. So this one's from Sung Life. So we're going to try it out. I think it worked because I've watched a couple jerky videos in my life, and whenever they're putting them on the dehydrator, they look exactly like yours, kind of like candied like that. So what part of the cow is this off of?
The round, well, it should be off the round.
Hey guys, so I'm about to start sewing my grow bags. I have 27 grow bags to sew for my swimming pools, my little kiddie pools that I got. They are the small size kiddie pools if you're wondering, and I'm planning on putting 3 grow bags in each pool, which will grow me 5 stalks of corn in each grow bag, which will be 15 stalks of corn in each kiddie pool, which will be 12 to 15, that's where we want it to be, stalks of corn per person for the year. Survival gardening here. So I got my sewing machine all set up. I have all the things. I have my coffee. I have my smoothie. I'm going to be well hydrated. And I have 27 grow bags all cut out here. And there's little Abby. Say hi, baby. Say hi. She hangs out with me all day, guys. She just follows me everywhere. But anyway, somebody was asking why the heavy gauge landscape cloth in the garden. I mean, it's nice, but it seems a little excessive for putting stuff in containers. You're correct. You could just put your kiddie pools or your container totes right on the grass. You don't have to have anything. But if you have a tarp, it doesn't have to be this landscape fabric, but if you have a tarp or you have some weed guard or something and you put that down, it just makes it a whole lot nicer that you don't have to weed eat or string trim, whatever you guys call it, all around every single bed all summer long. It's just a whole lot less maintenance. And when I've looked up kiddie pool gardening and container gardening, it seems that people that seasonally garden, they'll lay out a tarp or some weed guard, they'll lay that down and then put their containers on top of that, and then at the end of the season you can pick it all up and move it and store it and put it away if you wanted to do that. But you don't have to do that. It's not necessary. It's just a whole lot less maintenance. And if you remember back in the beginning of our gardening season for this year, our plan was, well, our first plan was to get mulch and do a back to Eden garden like we've been doing the last 2 years. But then the mulch didn't come, so then we decided to go with a market style garden. Market style gardening meaning putting down heavy gauge landscape fabric on the whole garden and burning holes into it and planting into it, kind of like some other families do on YouTube, or like Deep South does, just not burning holes in the fabric, but leaving a little 1-inch or 2-inch gap between the pieces of landscape fabric and planting down those rows. You can even add dripper systems to those little rows. So that was plan B. And then what happened is that Plan B kind of backfired because our soil was so soft that we could not get the landscape fabric to stay down. The wind was so bad this spring that it kept ripping up the landscape fabric every time we got it all stapled down again. So we ended up going towards container gardening, and I already had the landscape fabric down. Plus, I just really, really like the idea of not having weeds and grass and all that kind of stuff underneath of our feet while I'm gardening. So anyway, that's a long answer. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get sewing up these grow bags. we are in the garden tonight and I have a helper. So we're going to be trying out this sweet corn. And a big thanks to someone in the comments who said, don't plant popcorn and sweet corn together because you're going to ruin both of them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are new to corn. We've planted glass gem corn over the years just to have fun, but we've never really tried sweet corn. So we don't really know what we're doing here. But anyway, we're learning as we go. So thank you for that. So if we plant popcorn, it'll be way far away from our garden here. But we do want to plant our sweet corn. And this is peaches and cream sweet corn. It is non-GMO. But it is a hybrid variety here that I'm seeing. So anyway, let's get to it. It says 80 to 85 days to harvest. So I'm gonna quick read these instructions and then we're gonna start planting. Okay, so it's saying to plant this a 1/2 to 1 inch deep. And I think that we're gonna do 5 kernels in each planter. So I'll just show you around real quick. So these are all filled up. It's a little dirty and messy. We're gonna have to hose this off here. But yeah, all of our bags are filled. And you see we leave about 6 to 8 inches from the top. That's fine. We can always add mulch to that later as the corn grows up, and then it'll help keep that moisture in too. And with these pools, because they are so little and so shallow, and because we live in Texas, we're not gonna drill holes in these pools. I think they're gonna be fine. The bags are nice and big and deep, and I think it's just gonna be fine. If we find that we're getting too much moisture or they're just too wet or we have a storm, then we'll drill holes. But for right now, we're not gonna drill holes. We're in Texas. Okay, let's do our middle one first. That's a good girl.
Kind of deep.
Mm-hmm. The corner.
Yeah.
The tree guys are here and they're going to be cutting down this tree.
We've gotten homeschool done. My big boys are off working and off the farm work job today. And I am in my afternoon routine, which is housework, getting some housework done, and just getting my smoothies made up for me and my husband. This is the first thing I give him when he comes in the door home from work. And then I always like making little mini smoothies for my 3 little ones. So they're getting some really good nutrition in the afternoons. Plus they'll probably have like a peanut butter and honey wrap or peanut butter and jelly wrap. So we have the dehydrator going over here, still making more beef jerky. I think this might be the last batch of beef jerky that we're making up. And I'm just kind of diving in here, getting some housework done, so I'll bring you all along for whatever else I'm doing in here. Then, you know, my goal is to go outside and get some gardening done, so I'll bring you out there too. Okay guys, so I canned up this beef probably about a week ago now. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 jars here of shredded beef. So I washed the jars afterwards. Some things you can tell if your jars are really yucky. It's always good practice to wash your jars with soapy water afterwards to really get them clean, especially around your seals. But I don't always do that 100% of the time. If my jars are really, really clean when they're coming out, depending on what I canned, I may not always do that, but it is good practice to do because hypothetically speaking, bacteria could get into your jar if you don't have a good seal. That being said, if you don't have a good seal, you kind of have a problem anyway, and you're going to know that when you go to remove your lid. So it's just a good opportunity as you're washing them to check your seals, check to make sure everything is sealed really good. These were obviously shredded beef, so they just were more fatty and just messy jars anyway. So I scrubbed them all really good with hot soapy water and washed the bands, and now I'm just resetting the bands back on here just loosely, just for organizational purposes, so that way the next time I go to pull one of these off the shelf, I'll have my jar, my lid, my band all together. I can put that through the washing machine, and then I will reassemble it, dry, and put it back on my shelf, so when I go to fill up these jars, everything will be together. It's just for organization, nothing else. Anyway, I'm gonna go pop these in my pantry, and I'll bring you back there and show you what things are looking like. Okay, so we are back in the pantry again, and you can see my beef shelf. I'll bring you over here. Here is my beef shelf, and we are on the third shelf. So I'm just starting my third shelf here. My other two shelves are just all broth, this shelf, and then this shelf down here. I started to put my boxes in place. So remember, save your boxes so that way you can double stack your jars. But today, just starting our third shelf. So super exciting, and I love that we're putting some actual beef on the shelf. For those of you who've been waiting, why is she canning all that broth? Look, not just canning broth now. We have some beef, so I'm gonna put this on the shelf. Get these all on here. It's so satisfying, guys. There's some, like, I don't know. There's just something about canning food and putting it away that's just so satisfying. And one thing is that every time, like as a mom, every time I see one of these big quart jars, I just see a meal. Like, that's a meal done for my family. So it's just really awesome. Super awesome feeling. So these shelves here are not going to be able to be double stacked because the way that these are arranged, I could go back and fix that configuration later if I wanted to, but it's not really bothering me right now. So I do have 3 shelves of chicken, and I only have 2 shelves of beef so far. So chicken wins. Chicken's ahead of the game, and that's okay. Chicken's going to be way ahead of the game because we still have a lot of roosters to process.